for joining me this evening. Let me make a few adjustments here. Yeah, that's good. That works. All right. Yeah, I'm going to wear my glasses tonight because my other computer that I usually read the comments on has died on me. So I have to rely on reading them on the fly. So that's okay. It's all right. And if I wear these aren't like glasses, but I actually have gotten to that point where, yes, I have to start wearing reading glasses. I resisted it for a long time. Welcome to another Sunday at Mike's. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, whether you're watching on the rerun or whether you're watching live right now. You are always welcome and appreciated as well. Yeah, I had myself quite an interesting week this week. Some good, some bad, but that's how it is. You take the bitter with the sweet. Ben, good evening. Hope you're well. Yeah, I did pick up, and let me see if I can make an adjustment here. Yeah, there we go. There we can see it now. Yeah, so I picked up my JHS Charlie Brown. Did come through this week, so it has taken its place on my pedal board. Hey, Mickey, good evening. Thank you for coming, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, so the JHS came through this week and took the place on my pedal board for that AYA Tokyo pedal. And, I got to tell you, my initial thoughts on the JHS Charlie Brown version 4 pedal is that it's as advertised. You have to work with it within your rig because, really, it's going to take a little bit of working with it. It's not going to be a plug and play kind of thing. But fiddling with it, not a very complicated thing, and within minutes, you can pretty much will get whatever Marshall tone you're looking for out of it, which, for me, that fits the bill. Does it sound like a JTM 45? There are times when I'm playing certain things through it that I hear that, yeah, it has a good emulation of it. It's got a good tone to it. So it's definitely going to be on my pedal board. Maddie Two Hats, welcome. Yeah, it's going to be on my pedal board here for a minute. I think. I think, guys, after all of this time, I may actually be done filling with this stupid pedal board. I might have locked in all my winners, and however, the next thing, of course, is getting my power situation a little bit better than it is right now because really it's great. It does the job, but I think that a little bit of the noise floor that I'm getting could be coming from that. And that may be something that I might want to replace with something a little bit better quality. It's not a bad quality one, but I could do a little bit better. So that would be the last move that I would make over there. So that's a relief. I'm glad it came through. It sat in the post office for about 4 days and nobody knew where it was because the postman didn't want to walk up the steps to come to deliver it. But it's all right. I finally tracked it down and got it. There are some other things that I'm still waiting for that I understand are at the post office as well. So as soon as they show up, the Telecaster neck pickup I'm talking about that I'm just so waiting for. I'm really delighted about that. I'm still waiting on that. For a topic to open with tonight, I thought that I would discuss the Harley Benton USA shop opening up. So apparently, the guys at Tomon have bought a warehouse in the States, I believe in Washington or Virginia, somewhere around in that area. Don't quote me on that, but within whereabouts there. They set up this deal through Reverb where you can purchase Harley Benton guitars, and you don't have to deal with that transatlantic shipping issue at all. And especially on returns, it makes a lot of sense because it was a real pain to have to return stuff from the States or Canada or anywhere else other than mainland Europe back to Tomon. Especially with these guitars, you can return them through Reverb system. So they also will take, if it's a return, they'll take care of the shipping. So is there any catches to this? Well, I looked at the pricing, and what I would pay with the VAT included and with shipping included is a little bit more than what a guy in the States from California, example, ordering one would pay, especially with the Les Paul models. So, their shipping in the States is free. And just like here, you can ship multiple guitars, I think up to 5 or 6 or something like that, all within that same shipping thing because the shipping is basically baked into the cake. So, an interesting thing. I think that the availability of Harley Bentons in the States is about to get to be a whole lot more available. And that's a good thing. Like I've said before, my Double Cut Custom is a fine guitar. And I think having the availability, I don't know what models they're going to have available. I wouldn't imagine that it would be all of them. That'd be awesome if they did, especially if they had that double neck. That would be that 12-string, 6-string 12-string. That would be awesome to be able to get, in the States and not have to worry about all the bumps and bruises that could happen. Like I said, during transatlantic shipping, that could lead to damages. In the States, you just have to worry about the postman not nicking it. But it's a great thing that they've done. I think you are going to see a proliferation of Harley Bentons out there going forward in the States. Now, it's not available to Canadians and it's not available in Mexico, but you can get around that. I'm sure if you're in Canada, you have an American friend who can buy it and ship it to you for a little bit more, not very much more. And same thing with Mexico. So not a lot there, but just something to be aware of if you're in Mexico or Canada. This is not available to you. But if you are in North America, yeah, it's pretty much well there. It's really going to be great because it's just going to be one more great guitar available at a reasonable price that will span any guitar player's lifetime, really. If that Double Cut Custom I had was the only guitar I had from day one, I wouldn't be doing too bad. And if I would certainly at this stage of the game still be playing it. So that's going to be awesome. As I told you guys, we talked about this, that it was my prediction that Harley Benton would fill in that slot that Epiphone used to be in. Now, one of the other awesome things that happened this week was that I was able to go down and speak with the owner of Dirt Wick Music, Barry Witt. And, if you saw that video, which was awesome, it was actually really something that I've wanted to do for a long time. Ever since I started this channel, one of the guys that I wanted to make it down to an interview was Barry, and you guys can see why, because he's a wealth of information. We talked about things off camera that I found interesting, but one of the things that he said on camera was about Epiphones aren't getting any cheaper. They're going to start sourcing They are sourcing. We've talked about this. Within woods, there are different grades. So even within Awesome Shop, thanks for doing the tour. Yeah, Matt too has. I'm really glad to be able to bring it because I wanted you guys to see it. I've been talking about it. Is it or is it is not as an awesome of a shop as I said it was? And you guys should do them some business if you saw something that you like there. Please do give Barry a call. But I said that Epiphones were going to be moving into what they are the high end guitars, and these Harley Bentons were going to be slipping into that place, and that's exactly what's occurred now. Within woods, remember there's different grades, and even within USA Gibson, it's really starting to build some gas for Bonamassa 330. I'm really starting to. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute, Mickey. But let me just get through this point. Is that with woods again? Even with a USA standard or versus a custom shop, yeah, that USA standard has a maple top, two-piece maple top, but is a grade of maple, whereas the custom shop is a higher grade. Well, guys, don't think that just because they're making these guitars in Asia that they also don't have grades within the maples and again there's many different types of maple, there's many types of mahogany. We've talked about that, but within their Asian maple and mahoganies there's grades as well, and Epiphone is starting to purchase the more pricier woods. You could feel that, guys, Mickey. I feel you on that. There were two guitars that day in that video that I fell in love with, and the first one was that 1975 Les Paul Custom, that wine red one. Boy, howdy, guys! That's that moved into the number one position of my dream guitars. That thing was awesome. It just, I wish I had the time to plug it in. I was pressed for time to get the filming done and get all the shots I wanted, so I didn't have time to really get into all that. But just to hold it and strum it a little bit and just to appreciate it, it is a dream. At $6,400, it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but that is probably one of the finest examples of the New Orleans era guitars that I've ever held my hands. I saw you light up when you held that custom. Yeah. You guys could tell. I instantly fell in love with it. I've been around and had a few Les Pauls in my time, I can say at this point, but that one is just something about it that just screamed, that spoke to me. I told you about that. You'll go through a forest of trees and then suddenly one of them will speak to you. It's really true. The other guitar that really shocked me, now that I really got to spend a little bit more time with it for a second time, is the Joe Bonamassa 335. Again, as Barry was saying, that they're starting to source better quality woods. And you could feel that when you held that 335. As I said, it has a certain gravitas to it when you hold it. And I was surprised. Now, I know that I went on a little bit of a questionable discussion when we were first talking about it, and it first came out that I questioned the price and I questioned the quality of a few things on it. I'm a converted believer. I had a Gibson 335 sold as the prices went up and made a nice profit. Yep, dig that. Bonamassa over here is $11.49, which is a lot for Epiphone. Yeah, in pounds, yeah, dig that. But over here, it's going for 1,049, basically, or 1,100 euros. But that guitar felt good. I really got to just check it out, talk to Barry about it. The tremolo, guys, that and we talked about it. You saw in the video, we discussed it. That it looks like a toy, but no, it's substantial. And Again, the only thing about it that just is not a deal breaker by any means is that little, custom plate down, between the, at the bottom. Even Joe's that he's basing it on doesn't have that plate. However, in that video, you can see a true 335 that they're basing this one on from the year they're basing that one that does have that plate. So that is true. It is exact to that. I did make that note. So in that regards, it's kind of cool. Hey, Joe, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning to you. I forgot to say that, guys. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Yeah, guys, that 335. I love the custom plate like on Larry Carl's. Yeah, it's growing on me, and it's by no means a deal breaker at all. And to be honest with you guys, I'm seriously considering. As you know, I have my guitar fund going, and as Barry and as I discussed, and as Barry confirmed, those guitars are great investments. They hold, if you put your money in that, your money is safe. It's safer, safer than the bank. Actually, unfortunately, these days, or crypto. But it's a great investment, and you have to be ready. In that case, it's a case queen. It'd be a case queen. You could take it out and strum and play it and enjoy it. Just have to be a little bit extra careful when you do. But it would certainly be something that I am considering, and I am considering it. It's something that's that neck. The neck is perfect. I really like the neck on it. And since the 75 custom is out of my pay grade, I certainly am looking at that 335. Believe it or not, even though I have to say, I did some promotional shots with pictures of that and stuff on my community, and I took the picture of myself holding it, and I looked like a little kid holding that guitar. Even my good friend Pierre Shitsu said to me, "Man, Mike, is that 335 bigger than standard?" I said, "Nah, man, that's just me. I'm not a very big person. Got a lot of love, but not a big person. But I would still rock it, though. It damn well swallowed me, though. It's pretty embarrassing, but especially standing next to Barry, because that dude is super. But a lot of Dutch guys are tall. I've yet to meet a short Dutch person. All right, so Harley Benton, yeah, dig that, guys. So if you're interested in getting your hands on a Harley Benton, the time has arrived. The time has definitely come for you because, you can certainly get yourself. Billy Clark's being walked to 35. He was a small dude too. Yeah, I know. Yes, 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 yes. I don't know why it is. It looks great on everybody else, but it looks small on me. It didn't look like an amazing shop. Yeah, Mickey. If you ever make it over this way, you're more than welcome. I'll take you down there. I'll introduce you. It is a fantastic place. But it's a chance for Harley Benton to get into that market. And I told you, and it doesn't really take a crystal ball to see these things because it's almost like if you live long enough, I'm hoping to come over early. Hey man, then you know where we're going. If you made it early enough in March, you could go to the vintage guitar show with me and Fern in Vennendal. Now that's something to see. It's something. It's almost like a baton handoff where Epiphone said, "Okay, we've established ourselves. We've done our thing. We're moving into the high-end guitar market. We talked about that. Anything over $800 up to 28, or we said you're talking about high-end, then custom shop, and then special order above that. But they're moving out of that mid-tier market into and budget market into really just the high end by purchasing better woods, constructions that even Gibson USA cannot match. One piece necks with a long neck tenon. That's something, that's custom shop level stuff. So Harley Benton is going to fill that void. And much to the chagrin of Harley Benton haters out there, I might be there before your neck. I'm sorry, man. I truly believe that stuff, and it's not just me, but other friends of mine who have stuff coming from the UK. I think since Brexit, they get packages. There must be like some room where they just toss it in and say, "Okay, we'll get to it when we when we get to it." As far as stuff that comes from the UK, I really truly do believe that. Sure, it's the holiday season, but oh my gosh, I'm hoping to hear from them this week. I've got Fern on hold. I got him on pause. So yeah, I'd like to get that going. All right, but yeah, Harley Benton guys, and that's good. Harley Benton's are cool guitars, and I think that they're going to sweep the North American continent. And I think a lot of people are going to take advantage of that, and that's awesome. All right, cracks in the vintage market is the main topic for tonight. Cracks in the vintage market. So when I'm filming stuff like that, interviews and things like that, I'm really focusing on, is the camera in focus? Did I turn the mic on? Because I've done that, and is everything framed very nicely, or do we have what we need in this picture? And on top of that, steering the conversation, knowing the person that I'm interviewing, and going through all that through my mind. Barry is always, when Barry digs you and he'll open up and he'll tell you some things. He'll say some things. And while I'm doing all these things and setting up, I'm listening and I'm like, yeah, I dig that. But I really don't have the time to completely focus and follow a train of thought like I would like to. But one of the things that he said when I was setting up and I was trying to get his vintage amps in the frame, he said, I have a love-hate thing going with these vintage amps. And I said, why is that? And he said, because by the way, I brought my my Echoplex with me for him, not to sell. I'm never giving up my Echoplex. That's going to go in my cold, dead hand. But just so he could check it out, because he'd never seen one before. And we were talking about the circuit and all of the clones and, King of Tone and this, that, and the other. And so he said, the same thing with your Echoplex, is that these require a certain level of maintenance that is getting harder to find people to do it. And the younger folks are finding to be troublesome when modelers and things of that nature are easier to deal with. He says they hold their value. I guess he was one of the things he was mentioning, but so there was that positive aspect of it. But I think the general takeaway that I got from that, and they sit there for a while too. They don't move, because it really takes a specific client, and that client base is shrinking for a lot of reasons. And the cracks in the vintage market thing have been predicted, for decades now. You can just go on any forum and you can find just about anybody talking about the death of, is this the end of the vintage market? And we've talked about that on this live streams in the past as well, about this subject. And I thought we would bring it up again tonight because from talking to Barry and getting that insight about vintage amps, and also an interview that I did with Axe Palace owner, Nick, and he really sells amps. That's his main bread and butter. Um, about how things were going in that market. Now with vintage amps, they're not getting any cheaper. A vintage amp at this point, as long as you can plug it in and it's functional and it's in relatively good quality, if you get it at a good price, market value price, you can pretty much will stick it in a corner and sit on it. It's just like sitting on a gold coin or piece of jewelry or something like that, because in 2 years' time, you can certainly sell it for what you paid for it. You may actually, depending upon market conditions, good or bad, get a little bit more if you can find the right buyer. Now, that's the big caveat. So I think that market is getting a lot smaller, and I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why I think that way. Um, uh, One of the things that I have scribbled down here is amps being the first crack in the vintage market, is because of the declining amount of live venues during the pandemic. Here, UK, States, wherever, a lot of live venues shut their doors. It's a reality of it. And so, ergo, really, the amp as a medium for live shows being a preferred medium for a guitarist or a bass player or a keyboard player. We're talking about guitars tonight, but primarily, but that traditionally is the way to go. Modelers, the high end ones, the Kemplers and the Helix, things of that nature, and to some sense, the Lion 6, things like that, have really become the preferred medium. Uh, Amps and all of their sensitivities, their weight, things that could go wrong with them, really are something that is not wanted to be dealt with, especially when there are alternatives. Vintage prices are always going up. The forces a lot of people out of the market. Also, a lot of people from that vintage era are now dying off. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Those are great points. Um, yeah, so those venues are drying up. The next thing is um, smaller, less watts. You know, yeah, there was a big amount of new guitarists that joined during the pandemic. There is certainly a large amount of sales of gear. We've had some people sharing here that they made off like a bandit selling their gear. I as well during that period. But it was a lot of households, and I really don't see a great deal of those households purchasing, 100-watt Marshall stacks, vintage Marshall stacks, plexi, head. I just don't see that happening. Or 65 Fender Deluxe Reverb, or whatever, fill in the blank. Nah, it wasn't like that. As a matter of fact, everybody, some of the most popular content that I've had on my channel are the ones where I talk about ways of recording or playing and practicing using headphones. People are really interested in seeking that kind of information because that is the way to go. Modeling amps, we were talking about modeling amps, and was that you, Mickey? You were talking about getting a modeling amp. Well, I started to think about it. I said, you know what? Let me just look into an inexpensive modeling amp and see how it works and how it sounds, just for kicks. So that's a show that's coming up here shortly, where I went out and bought them. I actually I haven't bought it yet, but it's in my cart. It will be purchased here shortly. A modeling amp, and and put it up against my Laney and just put it head to head and say, hey, what are the pros and cons here? The the speaker's an 8-inch speaker. The Laney's a 12, so a little bit different there, but regardless. So that's coming up. But that's something that people prefer to buy, and they're not expensive. The one that I'm buying is 79 euros, about 80 bucks. And it's a modeling lamp, yeah, Harley Benton. So that is just there's so again that market of guys who would purchase that is relatively small again. The other thing is shipping. I sold my 100-watt plexi just last night to a great guy. Oh my gosh, Mickey, that's fantastic. I didn't read the rest of that. Guys, I'm not going to be doing. I can't read the comments at the end tonight. That's with my glasses because my computer died on me. The one that I sit here and look, it died the other day. Just try to get it to the shop tomorrow. Fortunately, I have a backup that I was able to do the editing for the video on. But yeah, I was editing it. It just crashed on me. So I'll try to read these quickly. But yeah, you sold a 100-watt plexi for. If you could just tell me again, Mickey, what did you sell it and end up with? That would be interesting. Yeah, guys, shipping. I had my brother look into shipping over. I told you just at one 12-inch speaker, and the cost of the shipping was 3 times the cost of the speaker. It didn't make any sense, and that is becoming true with a lot of these amps. Mailing these amps, and they're these 20, 30, 40, 50-pound amps and cabinets and heads, it's getting expensive. And you can look at the price of an amp, and you can pretty much add about anywhere between 5 and frighteningly maybe even more, 10%, maybe even more on the shipping on top of that. And you're going to have to insure it. It's just the way it goes. So yeah, Bear's not. I'm sure he's moving, but they're just not moving. I think was what he was sharing with me, the way that he wanted them to. However, again, they're vintage amps and they do retain their value. So it's value sitting there, but he's not in the value business. He's in the business of selling things. Whoops, lost my main light, guys. Sorry. Ugh. Start that again. It'll kick back in. Yeah, actually, I kind of like this light better. It's moody. Actually, let's try this for a while. I don't have that bright light in my eyes. Yeah, let's do this. And then, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so dig that. Next thing, so yeah, shipping. Just really expensive. And you got to really factor that in. I don't see a lot of people really comfortable with really doing that. I just don't. I certainly myself reneged on that. I said, no way. I'm not spending $400 to ship something over. And then you got to look at the VAT on top of that. So yeah, I think that's a factor where those vintage amps are starting to. Guitars are different, but the cracks really. This is another area where I'm saying there is a crack in those vintage amp sales. So, and then my last question on regarding this before we jump into it a little bit more. I've not jumped into vintage gear. Well, yeah, Tommy, vintage gear is one of those things that if you have a specific tone that which is what you should be looking for. Your main thing, your main goal always is what is my tone and what do I need to achieve it? And that doesn't have to be done on expensive stuff either. Stevie Ray Vaughan used what he had available to him. These were not wealthy guys. They were not millionaires that they ended up later on in life. I always say, but I am amazed how poor the Van Halens were when Eddie was coming. They did not have a lot of money. That also is one of the reasons why Eddie had to be so inventive with building his own stuff, to get where he wanted to go as well. But yeah, it's not, the vintage market is not something that is a necessary component unless it is a component of the tone that you're looking for. The only vintage piece now that I've held on to and will continue to hold on to is my 75 Echoplex. And one of the key purposes of having it in my setup is it really does, as I say, I always say as advertised. What I mean when I say it's as advertised is everything, it's got that magic sauce on it. It's got that little extra something that makes it different than everything else. It's the thing, it's not the 95% that you can almost get to with something like a circuit that's based on it, like the King of Tone or you name it. No, it is the 100%. It's the real deal. And sometimes that 100% is what will make or break your tone, but not necessarily. That's only in the record. In my case, it's a recording situation. I hope to be around long enough to have my gear turn vintage along with me. That's awesome, brother. Yeah, I hope so too. I really do. Um, yeah, only in my case because I'm recording, and there's a certain sound to the guitar that I'm looking for, and it delivers it. Is it a pain in the butt to keep service? No, not really. I got my guy right down here down the street. Literally, it's one tram, a couple of tram stops away from me. I take it down there, he'll fix it for me, and it'll be back here. So that's awesome. And it works, it does the trick. And it is the one piece that, of all the vintage, and I had a lot flow through my hands here over the years, it's the one piece that I hang on to because I use it. And unless you're really going to use it, then don't buy it. If you don't need it, don't buy it. If you're running a studio, a real studio, a big one, where you got clients, and yeah, you're gonna have to invest in those kind of things, of course, because your clients are gonna want it potentially. But no, I wouldn't get into the vintage thing. It's not necessary unless you really love it. The only it just so happens that that Les Paul Custom is a 75. It could be a 2005. It could be whatever 95. It could be whatever. It was just an awesome guitar. The fact that it's vintage is that puts a little something on it, but it's not the thing that's important to me. It's the fact that it was just something about it that spoke to me. So yeah, dig that. Question. Getting back into cracks in the vintage market. Since the time, ask yourself this question, guys and ladies. Uh, since the time that you started playing guitar, how many amps have been built? Just think about that. And while you're thinking about how many amps have been built, think about how many guitar players started themselves since that time versus how many amps have been built. Okay? And then ask yourself, could there be a glut in that market as well? And my answer to you is yeah, because again, you have a generation of cats coming up, and even older cats. Peehan Shih Tzu, same age as me, he uses plugins. Um, you know, Other cats here use plugins as well. I have moved over to amp in a box pedals. So we're not buying amps, and we're like that demographic that should be definitely going to use the amps at the moment. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's a glut out there, a glut. And I'm just saying that the technology, now this technology curve where it started getting in, there was early adaption, and those were the guys. I'm talking about the modelers, the Helixes, the Kemplers, things of that nature. And then you started seeing major stars. What's that guy from Dire Straits? Somebody help me out. Lead guitar player for Dire Straits. He's using a Kempler, or some or Line 6 or something like that. So you see he's not. I mean, this is a man who has probably just a building set aside. Mark Knopfler. Thank you, Mickey. Yeah, Mark Knopfler. He doesn't use amps anymore. Yeah. Thank you, Anthony. Thanks, guys. Yeah, he uses modelers now when he's performing. So you see that from that early adoption to mainstream adoption. And when that inflection point comes, then it's off to the moon. It's off to the market. If I'm a young guy and I've got $2,000 burning a hole, and again, how many young guys are like that? But if I am a guitar and I'm serious, I'm out of school, and my parents say to me, okay, as a graduation present from graduating XYZ music school, we're going to give you you already got your guitar, whatever that is. We're going to give you $2,000 to go out there and buy an amp. So, because you said you're going to start performing. Would you go out and buy a used, and by the way, even a Fender Twin Deluxe, you can get those for under $1,000 used. And by the way, these are used ones, but these aren't the vintage ones. You're priced out of that. $2,000 is not going to get you in vintage amp territory. So forget about that. Forget about your dreams of having a basement. It's not going to happen. So that puts you in the territory of new amps or a little bit better bang for your buck used amp, or that same money going into a Kempler or something like that, where you have the option of having 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 amps with multiple sounds, and you can do this and plug it in a computer and it'll drive your car and make you orange juice in the morning. It's just one of those things that most vintage amps don't carry the reliability of newer amps. Yeah, there's that aspect as well. I told you, we talked about that in the beginning. You take that thing on stage, and is it going to crap out on you, in the middle of your set? Vintage stuffs they're for old collectors. I said they're money that sits in a corner. It's like having jewelry in a case, or old watch, or something of that nature. It's something that's going to hold its value, but it's not. But there's a very small market. Or rich rock stars. Well, like I was saying about Mark Knopfler, don't you think that he has some vintage amps? Hell, they weren't vintage when he bought them. He actually did grow old, and his stuff became vintage. So there you go, man. There's something to look forward to. It does happen. Dreams do come true. But but he switched over to a modeler. And because now when you hear about Slash moving over to a modeler, then it's over. It's done. And that day may be coming. You never know. Amps push air. They don't have the bottom sag that a lot of these modelers have inherently in them. Even the pedals have a little bottom sag in them inherent. You just have to overcome that. My old 70s Vox AC caught on fire on a similar basis. That was a money opportunity you missed out on there, actually, because if it was a club situation, you could have done something like a marshmallow sale, like, hey, we got s'mores over here, guys. Fresh out of the amp. Could have been made money there, man. I'm a money guy. I'm always thinking. Yeah, dig that amps. Again, amps are perfect for the studio. Amps have their place. Vintage amps have their place, and their place is in an air-conditioned studio, dust-free, and they never move from there. They never, see the light of day, ever. And that's where they have their strengths. And that is where cats who really want to use those, if they're serious about them, they want to use those, so they'll go to a studio, they're in the time, and they'll have access to that stuff, and they'll use it for their recordings. Everybody else sitting at home doesn't have time to explain to their neighbors, baby, crying because I had to plug in my Plexi. It's just not an argument that most folks want to have. And it's just, or with inside the house alone, unless you got a bat cave, unless you're Bruce Wayne, These days it's just not very practical. You know, so I think that's a huge crack there that's showing. And it's because we've passed that inflection point as far as models are concerned where they're getting mainstream adoption. Yeah, of course, guys, there is no, again, maulers and things of that nature they put you in that 95% club. However, that last little 5% difference is not worth the hassle, as most people are starting to find. 1 watt tube amp is where it's at. Yeah, mine is a 15, but it has a built-in attenuator in it. So I have an attenuator right here that I never use, but it has a built-in attenuator in it. Goes to 1 watt, and that's what I'm always plugged into, even when I do my recordings. When I was miking it up and recording it, it never went out of that 1 watt slot. It just wasn't, it just wasn't, it wasn't, it didn't make any sense. And plus, really, you don't need all that power when you're recording either. 1 watt mic'd correctly, got all your gain stagings, you're good to go. So yeah, dig that. So that's a crack in that. I see that as going into just the rich guys. At 15 clockwise, Batman cranked his left. Yeah, Mickey, it is super. That's why I told you I love that Laney. That's my amp. See, that's the last point, that I will get into tonight as far as this topic, is that I've got my tube amp. I've got that Laney with that 70, 72, 72 greenback in it. I'm happy. Original cone. I'm happy. I'm good. I don't need another amp. It's a combo. I don't need another amp. I don't need anything. I got this little Joyo amp head up here, but that's just for me I actually just practiced with before, but now I can plug right here into my pedal board with my headphones on and just crank it. Yeah, I've got my amp, and I'm not buying another one. And a lot of guys, um, they are shedding a lot of their amps, and they're getting it down to just the pieces that they feel are the cornerstones of the tone that they like, and so again, that contributes to a glut. You got what you got, at this stage of the game when you're a guy like me. I'm actually shedding stuff, getting rid of things. And so I had 2 or 3 amps at one point there. Yeah, and a 2 by 12 cabinet, and I didn't need any of that. I let it go because that small little 15 watt Laney, if I really had a hard on to play live with an amp, that thing will do the job in most club venue situations. In a larger club and venue, you just mic it. You know, there's many a guy who have Marshall stacks, but the truth of the matter, they're miking a little, 1 by 12 or even a 1 by 10 in the back. I'm shedding gear as well, but bottom also is on my mind. Yeah, Mickey, would you stop talking about that? Doggone it. I had finally stopped thinking about it. Yeah, man, I'm serious about that Bonamassa myself. I'm serious about it. I really am. I'm seriously considering it because, yeah, it'll be a case queen. I won't take it out, but I know that my money is good with it, and it's actually worth it too. It's a lovely instrument. I'm not going to BS. I'm not a spokesman for Epiphone by any means. Those guys probably hate, well, not as much as Gibson, but I'm going to tell you, it is a fine, fine instrument. It is the best Epiphone I have ever held in my hands. You know, not to say that the 59 is bad. That also, when you feel it and hold it, you can tell it's got a little gravitas. Well, that 335 has it in spades. But yeah, guys, ask yourself, how many amps have been built since you started playing, and really, how many are sitting there somewhere like the end of Indiana Jones in a big warehouse where they just have acres and acres of amps that they haven't sold. And what's the true value of some of those vintage amps when they're popping up all over the place because the guys who were playing them and using them, unfortunately, are starting to pass away. My Uncle Carlton, uh, one of his band members in the Fast Domino band, passed away. He shared a picture with me with him and Fats and 10 guys on stage with Fats, 10, 11 guys on stage. He says there's only 4 of them left alive. And so, yeah, that generation of those guys and their gear is hitting the market. And, my Uncle Carlton, uh, he wants me to take his collection because there's nobody in his family that he feels that he could leave it to that would actually have any kind of mark on her, or that they would actually keep, or cherish or treat with any kind of respect. So yeah, that's happening in multiples across the United States. Well, with a huge fat domino fan. Oh yeah, Mickey, dig it. Yeah, my Uncle Carlton was a guitar player for Fats Domino. Yeah, Carlton McWilliams. Dig that. And yeah, the band is passing away. Fats is gone. Uh, and yeah, there's only 4 of those guys left. Thankfully, including my Uncle Carlton. But yeah, he was saying to me, Mike, I want you to take my well, now vintage guitar collection because I don't know who in the family to give it to. And I, I'm honored, but it's unfortunate that there's no son or somebody that he feels that he can give it to. They're just not interested. Mickey, I will tell you, I will mention you to my Uncle Carlton, most certainly, sir. I will pass that on to him. Yeah, you guys can check him out on YouTube. He does videos on YouTube. If you check out Fast Domino Band on my Uncle Carlton, you can see him down at the end playing guitar player. Played for a lot of folks. My Uncle Carlton played for. We McWilliams guys. We may not have made it, to superstardom, but I'll tell you, we have done some things. And those of us who are in the music, we've made our marks in our own ways. So I'm happy to have that. But yeah, and multiply that by multiple families across the United States, Canada, Europe, where these guys are passing away and they're handing this. And the younger guys don't want it. So yeah, cracks there definitely that I see. The mantra of this channel always and forever will be I'm good. you know, one of these days I'm gonna put it on a mug or a T-shirt. I'm good. Somebody probably beat me to it, but anyway, I'm good. You know, I I think about all the gear that's passed through my hands, and through to Barry. Barry has been, I've been the buyer and the seller as far as Barry is concerned. And now getting down to the gear that I have and just saying I'm good. Tell Joey B to stop with the new headphones. Yeah, man. He's not gonna stop because he's killing it. He's killing it. He's killing it with his signature models, and I'm just amazed. Those Lazaruses, those things just disappeared. I was halfway tempted to try to look into getting one of those too, but timing and everything just wasn't right. But this 335, again, yeah, it's just funny to me. I've shed a lot of stuff, that I didn't deem necessary, and I have finally gotten to a point now where I feel that I'm good. Now, with my main computer here breaking down, I have a secondary backup that I can do my work on, that I can do editing on. So, in that regard, I'm really considering, do I want to get another Mac so I can continue to do software based recording? I'm actually thinking seriously about investing in a hard disk recorder again. They have some out on the market now, 24 track units that would do the job for me. Now, of course, I would not have access to the amazing plugins that I have amassed for my DAW, uh, but I think that it may encourage me to go out and pick up more hardware based equipment, pre's and EQs, and maybe compressor limiters. I have the slots here in my setup to rack, put some racks in there, and to go back, and those are cheap because nobody's buying those units. You get a Lexicon PCM for chips now, because nobody wants them. Sometimes I see stuff come up, and I'm like, "Holy crap! That would be an awesome piece of gear to invest in." And even some of the really good modern mic pre-rack mounts can be had for a little bit of. So for the same amount of money that it would cost for me to get another Mac to go back to DAW recording, I'm starting to think I could go back to my more hardware-based recording. There's a little bit of a learning curve again with whatever unit the deck that I buy to record to, but it's more reliable. I like I like the idea of going back to it. I can certainly, there will be no loss of quality in the terms of the work that I'm doing with it. And for the amount of money, like I said, for a new Mac, I could pick up not just a 24 track unit, but also enough rack mount gear, processing gear, to make sure that the signal going in is just pristine and really good as some of the software based stuff that I have. And probably add to that, I certainly got, I don't have any of my rack space filled in right now. Because I had all that stuff in my studio in Singapore, and I just said I probably won't need this, so I sold a lot of it, and now I'm really regretting, especially some of my tube preamps, the rack mounts that I used to have. I got to make a trip to the States and hit up, some stores there, and you get stuff like this. So I'm considering taking a step back away actually from DAWs, interestingly enough. Because I think, again, like I said, I can achieve with the units that they have available now out on the market. You can achieve a really good pristine. It doesn't matter because as long as everything is clean, is Black Friday a thing over in the Netherlands? The music shops over here have already started doing deals. No, it's a small thing. Some of the Dutch TV commercials mention the Black Friday sale, but nah, it's not really a thing here. These guys are notoriously cheap. So you've heard the term "go Dutch." So the idea of giving a Black Friday, I think, is not appealing as a cultural thing, and I can respect that. I can dig that. But sure, there's sales, but a lot of stuff is based on personal relationships. In my case, like I know Barry, so if there's something that I want, I can usually work something out with him because we know he knows me. He knows I'm good. I've proven myself over the years to him to be a solid client. And there's another music shop here in town the same that I've recently started to establish a good relationship with. So the deals come there for me. I never really the Black Friday sales. I was never really into that anyway. I miss that. I think I missed that thing because when I left the States in 1995, that's when I really left the States. Um, it was not that big. I mean, it was a thing, but it wasn't really that big of a thing. I used to look on in horror at the lines and the sheer utter chaos of Black Friday in the States every year. Like, holy crap, I don't have anything to do with that. Thank God. Is it worth getting trampled for a $15 toaster? You know. Of course, musicians, you wouldn't see that at Guitar Center. There were no lines. There was no trampling at the Guitar Center Hollywood, even though they did have Black Friday sales. Um, yeah, I went to one. Yeah, at Guitar Center. Actually, the last Black Friday sale was 2019. I was there Thanksgiving time, and I went to a Black Friday sale. Dig that. Yeah, yeah. But no, not a big thing here. I forget what I got. Something. But yeah, I'm thinking about that, guys. I'm actually considering that. But I gotta let I don't know. I don't know right now, or I am going to take this computer in to the shop and see if they can make it go for a little bit longer. I don't have any projects coming up in the immediate future. I hope, knock on wood, because this will be the worst time for something to come through. But it's in the year and things are slowing down anyway, so it wasn't a bad time for it to crap out on me. But I'm really considering the direction of where I'm going to go in. And then that is the one monkey wrench in my 335 dream. By the way, I should mention is that that's an expenditure that I'm going to have to address here, and it's not it's going to have to be sooner than later. So we can dream on. Maybe no 335s for Christmas for me, but maybe somebody out there. Um, Yeah, guys, things, some things to ponder this week. I think that there are cracks there in the vintage market starting to show. I think that amps is the canary in the coal mine because again, they're a lot harder, a lot messier to deal with than guitars. Let's be honest. Um, whereas it may not be so true in the guitar market, in the amp market, certainly it is there. Just food for thought, something to think about, something I thought I would throw out there tonight. All right, guys. I think we're gonna call it quits tonight. It was -1 today here. It was freezing. Got up, got dressed as I normally do. Every day I gotta walk my dog, so I got my dog and got out and walking and quickly realized that I was not dressed for the weather. Because that -1 wind hit me and I said, okay, we finally, the album mix. All right, so my good friend Jock, who's doing the album mix, is going through some family issues. And I spoke to him about it a little while ago. I'm kind of giving him some room because I really would like him to do it. And quite frankly, with my main Mac down now here, I don't have the option of doing it myself. My DAW and my recording I'm down for now because my backup Mac does not have the computing power of this one. I couldn't even begin to think about trying to master that myself. So yeah, it really is in his hands. However, I mixed it pretty doggone good, and I was listening to the other day, and I was thinking to myself, um, you know, if I pressed it into a record, they're going to master it for vinyl anyway on their end. So I have, as I told you before, also I passed the entire album up the food chain to the producers that I know, the people above, the people who've helped my career along. And you know, it's not always what you know; it's who you know. And I passed it up to my who I know people for their consideration to see if there's something there that they're interested in. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that. I got a TV commercial out of one song on my last album. I hope to get something like that similar out of this one because that completely covers the cost of making the album, and in this case, would completely cover the cost of having it pressed and mastered as well. So there's a couple of balls in play there. I want to get it out to you guys too. What I again, like I said, as soon as hey Mickey, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. I believe me, I am going to use it for that. I think though it may be beyond repair. They're gonna put the jolts to it. And it's gonna jump, but it's gonna still flatline. Maybe. I hope not. I hope not. But yeah. But yeah, dig that, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, you know, just a lot of things, you know, guys. You never know what life throws at you. All right, I'm going to call it quits here and say goodnight to you and say a good week to you guys. I have thanks for another great show, Mike. Have a great week, everybody. Don't forget to give a boy Mike. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, guys, don't forget those likes. Don't forget those thumbs up. Thank you, sir. Yeah, man, dig that. I don't know what the regular show is going to be this week. Hey, Maddie, God bless, man. Thank you. Thank you, Mickey. Yeah, I don't know what the show is going to be this week, guys. I want to do a head to head. There's a couple of things that I have in mind here, so just stay tuned. I'll do a community page about with this week's regular content. I think I might let this interview going for. I might let it ride here for this week. To be honest with you, because it is picking up some steam. You know, it's not declining in views. It's actually starting to go up. So we'll see if I do something. It'll be out by Saturday if I do, and I'll let you know what it's going to be. It'll be interesting, I promise. In any case, you guys have a good Thanksgiving week to those out there who celebrate such thing. For the rest of you, if you do have a moment of time this week to just relax and enjoy yourself, please do so. And until next Sunday, you guys take care of yourselves. And I'll talk to you guys then. Thank you so much for showing up. Good night, everybody.